All right, can we switch back and talk about the 16-0 Ravens again here for a second?
Go for it.
All right. You need to get Mark Ingram nominated nice and early. He is a guy that people will pay for. He is a name that people know. He had a great season last year, and there is not a chance he repeats it. It will not happen. Okay? The Ravens ran the ball 100 more times than the team that had the second most rushing attempts in the league. So there's naturally going to be some regression here, just in the number of times they can run the ball. And I know they have some great running backs. I know they have Lamar Jackson. The Ravens ran the ball 596 times last year. In the past 3 seasons, nobody else has run it more than 547 times. That number is going to come down. Additionally, his touchdown rate is completely unsustainable. His first 8 years in the league, he scored a touchdown on 3.5% of his touches, which is really good. League average is something closer to 3. That's really good. Last year, 6.5% of his touches went for touchdowns. So you take his career average, put that onto his season last year, and it's 8 touchdowns, not 15. This guy scored 15 touchdowns last year. That's not going to happen. Additionally,
you're still going?
Oh, are you already convinced? Because I'm going to burn him to the ground.
Go for it.
Okay. 30% of the rushing attempts last year of the Ravens went to Mark Ingram. 30%. That's a low number. Take out Lamar Jackson. It's still only 50% of the running back carries. This is a team that gave 50% of their carries to Gus the Bus. They gave him to Justice Hill. They went and found guys who are just a guy. Like, they're not special. They went and found these kinds of guys to take carries out of Mark Ingram's hand. They don't want him to run the ball any more than he already is.
Can I, since we're in the field of telling stories, can I tell a story?
Lay it on me.
Let's go back. Can we get some way back time music, some chimes? We're going to go back to 2015 here. And I violated a major auction rule. And I waited for the last guy in the top tier. You won't believe who it was. I was waiting for C.J. Anderson, who was a Denver Bronco, and I lost. There was another guy that needed an RB1, and I needed an RB1, and I just couldn't do it. I wouldn't pay that much for C.J. Anderson. So I thought I was stuck. I ended up with Jonathan Stewart, Garrett Blunt, and Mark Ingram for nothing, for peanuts. And you know what I ended up with? I ended up with a trophy because it's Mark Ingram and he's a maniac. And you know what? He was RB12 that year. And you know what he was the year before? RB14. You know what he was the year after? RB11. 17. He was 6. In 2018, he was RB30. In 2019, he was RB6. You're telling me
this is not a guy who's getting any younger. I don't care that his track record said that he was RB11 back 4 years ago.
Every year, he's getting younger. He's getting older. Every year, he's getting older. And every year, he dominates.
They are looking for a reason to take carries out of his hand. He is not getting more carries. He is going to have a regression to his career average touchdown rate, which would have wrecked his season last year. We're not talking about having a bad season by Mark Ingram standards. We're talking about having a normal season by Mark Ingram standards. You cannot he's going as the RB22 right now. You cannot justify that. It makes no sense. Additionally,
I just told you, he's been top 15 in 5 out of 6 years.
Right. And that was with the Saints.
I can't justify it?
You can't. That came with the Saints, who rushed for far more touchdowns generally. There is no way that Mark Ingram gets that kind of share. Plus, they had a J.K. Dobbins. They spent significant draft capital on J.K. Dobbins. This guy is going to come in, and he is going to be just like Miles Sanders was last year or Nick Chubb the year before. Ingram's going to get the first touch in the first game. He's going to lead the backfield the first 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. J.K. Dobbins is more talented. J.K. Dobbins is going to be a better passing back. J.K. Dobbins is going to be the guy that leads this backfield come the playoff push. Mark Ingram is not going to finish up at RB22.
Okay. Are you comparing Dobbins to Chubb and Sanders or Ingram to Chubb and Sanders?
Dobbins.
Okay. That's fine, because you know who Ingram is? He's Mark Ingram, who's always had Alvin Kamara. And guess what? He's always just fine. The comparison is Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram is not Alvin Kamara. There's no way.
Mark Ingram is Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins is the sidekick. as always. They always do well. So you're telling me you don't want the guy who's going RB22, who's going to be the lead back for the first 6 weeks, which you just said, on the best running team ever known to man? Are you saying you don't want it? Fine.
I do not.
Fine.
I do
Nominate
not.
him.
I'm going to, absolutely.
Please. Make it 4.
No.
Make it 6. Let's go.
Put him on your team. I will be happy to watch him sit there. He is going to. I'm not saying Mark Ingram's not going to be serviceable. I'm not saying he can't be a flex play, and that's fine. He's not going to pay off for value, though. You're going to wish that you had somebody with more upside on your team.
I have another guy for you.
All right, let's hear it.
I have an actual running back who you should be nominating because we don't want him.